and welcome back to the DoneDeal YouTube channel. I'm David OC and today we're up in Sligo on a cold and brisk winter's morning reviewing the Audi A5 Sportback. So to begin, what does Sportback mean? Effectively it means it's a little bit longer and it's got 4 doors, a massive boot, and in my opinion looks a little bit better than the normal coupe. Now prices start at about €46,000 plus delivery. However, this one's spec'd all the way up to €58,000, and we'll talk about that spec later in the review. However, if you would like to search for A5s currently for sale from our trusted dealer network all around Ireland, then hit the link on the top left-hand corner. And of course, remember that DoneDeal is dedicated to taking any uncertainty out of buying a car and bringing you independent buying advice. Now, before we dive deep into the review, I have to be 100% transparent. A couple of years ago, I actually bought a black Audi A5 Sportback. I had it for a couple of months. I did an incredible road trip around Europe. We covered 10,000 kilometers. And when I got home, the first thing I did was I sold it. So you're probably wondering why. Now, truth be told, I was extremely disappointed with the spec when I got the car. I assumed, despite it being a very low spec car, that it would have some of the essentials like Bluetooth, phone connectivity, but it didn't. And at the time it was a reasonably new car, and I had previously owned a BMW and had all those things. And so when I got the car, I was just missing those things. And actually, to listen to my own music, I had to use an FM radio transmitter. I haven't used one of those since I was a kid. So my goal today in this A5 is to see how much they've improved that over the time, as in here, at a first glance, it looks a lot better. From the exterior, the A5, it's a pretty vibrant car. It's got these striking lines down the side which look really good. This, being the S-line version, has some slightly lower suspension, some 20-inch wheels, panoramic sunroof. Now they're part of something called a style pack, which will cost you €2,000. Now as we continue down the side, the lines continue. You've got an S-line badge here. In fact, with that S-line, you get a slightly more aggressive front and rear bumper. You've got some nice headlights and a big cheesy grille, almost smiling. So the interior of the Audi, or the Audi, depending on what you call it, let me know in the comments. I feel like Irish people are kind of split between the two. But you will notice I'm leaning down, and that's because the car is a little bit lower. It's a little bit sporty. Now, as we sit in, the seats are really comfortable and they're very adjustable. Now it is manually adjusting, but of course, actually most premium cars nowadays come stock with some manually adjusting seats. One thing I will say is, despite it being on its lowest settings, I still do feel kind of tall. And those are words that I sometimes say joking, but genuinely, I'm a pretty short guy. I'm about 5'10" and a half. And I'm still near to the roof, and I actually am on the lowest setting. Now, let's call a spade a spade. The steering wheel with the flat bottom, the S-line one, absolutely, it's the best in the business. It is so nice, and the feel and the touch of it is really nice. Now, some of the buttons are a little bit clicky, but I'll let it away with that because the overall feel when you're driving it is fantastic. Now, over here you have an infotainment system. We'll talk about that afterwards. Big, huge glove box there. You got a small bit of storage in here for coins or keys. You've got big door card there with some drink holders, 2 more drink holders here, wireless charging down here, and my favorite, the adjustable armrest. Another thing I really like is USB. So a lot of brands nowadays are doing USB-C. Now the thing about USB-C is none of us actually have USB connections. So you have to get an adapter. It ends up costing a lot of money. Good job, Audi, although I believe they're actually going in 2021, which is a shame. Anyway, let's check out the infotainment system. So as you can see, the touch is seamless. It works really well. One small bone to pick with it is you do need to plug in your phone for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to work, which is a little bit old-fashioned. And in fact, I think that might be the way with a lot of this car. So, for example, in the near future, we're going to be reviewing the A6, and the new center console in that is far superior, to be completely honest. This almost feels a little bit old school, and although it's come leaps and bounds since the original Audi A5, it's still not where I think it could be. Now, one thing I do actually really like is that all the different climate control and everything is here. Now, this car has something called triple automatic climate control. It's a mouthful, I don't actually think that's correct. And that's going to cost you about €1,000. And to be honest, don't put your money in there. Where you could actually put your money is over here onto the digital cockpit display. About €500 there will get you that, and it's an upgrade well worth it. But back to this, I just want to say it works really well. It's got Apple CarPlay, and I'm having a bit of issues there, but as you can see, normally any car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto gets the thumbs up of approval from me. Now over here, I did say the digital cockpit is available for about €500. It's an upgrade worth getting. However, even this standard one does have a really nice feel to it. It sits well behind the steering wheel. And what I mean by that is, even no matter what way you put the steering wheel, you'll still always be able to see your speedo, your revs, and of course the digital display in the middle. So all in all, it's a pretty good infotainment system, although I do feel like it's not quite where it will be in a year or two's time. As far as the rear goes, I'm a big fan of the frameless doors. I think it looks really nice. Now, should you be putting a child seat in the back, it's good news. The door opens wide, you'll get the seat in. The ISOFIX point, very easy access. However, these covers will probably most likely get lost, and no doubt they're very expensive. Now, as you sit in, let's talk about space. So loads of knee room, and actually you can slide your feet under the seat in front of you, which is perfect. I could actually spend a good amount of time in here. However, because it's a coupe, headspace is limited, but we'll let them away with that because it looks really cool, and it's a lot more spacious than the coupe version of the A5. In terms of kind of creature comfort, you've got your grab rails. Now, Audi drivers, if you're a passenger in one of those cars, you're going to need this bad boy. You've got a coat hook here. There's no little pouch there, but it's okay because you've got a small bit of storage here, 2 USB charging points, a 12-volt socket, and the center armrest does fold down. However, I think you have to pay like €100 to get drink holders there. Seems a bit steep if you ask me, but all in all, quite happy back here, and I actually could see myself doing the journey back to Dublin here in absolute comfort. Now, the boot of the A5 Sportback. This is its party piece. This is where you'll impress all the ladies or the men. Just maybe don't try use the key. Now, bloody Nora, it is absolutely gigantic, and you think, oh, they've used all the space, there's obviously no spare wheel. Well, you'd be wrong, because there is one. It's a space saver. We'll let that one slide. The boot is gigantic. It's 480 litres, but that's kind of irrelevant. Basically, it is enormous. You will fit as much milk as you can ever imagine, or you'll be able to put bikes in here, golf clubs. You'll probably get, if you were to fold down those rear seats, increasing it almost to 1,000 litres, you'd probably fit like 4 sets of golf clubs. I don't know why you'd want 4 sets of golf clubs if you only had 2 front seats, but what I'm trying to get across is it's absolutely gigantic. And in terms of nice little features, there's really high quality tie down points. There's a little bit of storage down here. And all in all, it's just a very impressive boot. So the A5, how does it drive? Well, it's good news, because I feel like the type of driver who buys an A5 Sportback S-Line wants a bit of grunt. And there is a good bit of power. Now, let's talk about the engine. So there's diesels, there's petrols. This has a 163 brake horsepower, 2-litre TDI engine, and it's the perfect engine for the job. You can get a 204 brake one, but actually the 163 has plenty of punch. Diesel cars tend to be extremely torquey, and this, if you put the 7-speed automatic gearbox into the S mode, you click the dynamic here on the quick select, you have plenty of pick up and go, and that continues through the higher gears. So that is the power sorted. Now let's talk about the suspension. It's the S-Line. It's got that slightly lower, slightly stiffer suspension. However, the dampening's quite nice. So even now, on a bit of a country road, we don't really feel many of the bumps. Now, yes, it's probably not as comfortable as something like a Mercedes E-Class or as, let's say, an A6, but it still is relatively comfortable. As a whole, the A5 is a lovely place to sit and go for a long drive. The sunroof from that style pack definitely brightens it up a bit, as it is a small bit cramped. I'm not going to say cramped, but it's not massively spacious. You can also have some good old-fashioned fun while still getting up to 5.2 litres per 100 kilometres, which is very, very efficient. Tax is cheap. Overall, I think as a car to drive, it ticks a lot of boxes. Just like every Done Deal car review, we love to discuss some of our favourite and some of our least favourite things about the cars we're reviewing. And for the Audi A5 Sportback, now this one's getting old. Even though this is the first Audi we've ever reviewed, I'm sick to death of saying that the exhausts are fake. Now there is some bit of good news, is that the passenger side one, 100% real. Kudos on that. But what happened over here? I don't understand. Number two is that a few of these buttons on the much loved steering wheel just don't feel as premium as something like a Mercedes. So if you just tap them, can you hear that? They're just not doing it for me. And number three is to do with the pricing. And this is not specifically aimed at Audi, it's across all manufacturers in the market today. So as we said before, the price started at about 46,000 euros. Spec like this, it costs 58,000 euros. And these are quite literally miles apart, and I would have preferred if Audi had just said it costs 58,000 euros. I mean, look at it. It is a 58,000 euro car. In fact, last night I actually went on the configurator, and believe it or not, Audi have kind of taken the Henry Ford approach. So the only colour that's free is white. So basically, you can have an Audi any colour but white. And if you want red, or if you want a nice charcoal grey or a nice green, well, that's going to be an extra 1,200 euros. Now, it's not all bad. In fact, here are three of our favourite things about the A5 Sportback. And number one is, I correct myself, the key does work. I swear it worked. Okay, we're just going to go straight to number two. Number two is the brake light. It looks unbelievably cool. I love how it's just faded in to the nice tinted out windows. Privacy glass, sorry, privacy glass. Okay, I think I figured this out. So you lock the car, then unlock the car, which you get these really cool sweeping indicators, and ho ho ho! He's only gone and figured it out. I actually am a big fan of the electric tailgate. And number three is that if you buy your Audi from one of our trusted dealers around the country like Connolly's Sligo, you will be given 3 years roadside assistance, 3 years or 90,000 kilometre warranty, and if you're willing to pay 14 euros per month, then you get a 3-year service plan. Well, there you have it. That is Done Deal's review of the Audi A5 Sportback. And what I can say is, if I had this one, I don't think I'd be selling it, as it has come on leaps and bounds. And as I said, with the right spec, you will be very, very happy. And I think it's probably the best car on the market for finding the balance between being sporty, being economical, and being extremely practical with that ginormous boot. And what's more is, it's an Audi. It will hold its value reasonably well, it will be reliable, and it will be good to go for at least 500,000 miles. Now, if you did enjoy this review, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have plenty more videos coming in the near future, and we will appreciate any comments and feedback down below. But for now, let's lock this car, and it's one of the few cars where when you lock it, you will turn back as you walk away to have a second look.